So yeah, Dan. Right now, powder coating. Tell us all about it and all that you all offer for your customers. If you could.
Okay. So I actually started as a wheel repair company,
Mm-hmm.
and we did liquid finishing, and then dealerships started wanting gloss black wheels on all their vehicles, and we just didn't want to finish those in our. We had a mobile trailer setup, so I've been powder coating a little bit at home in my free
Mm-hmm.
time as a hobby, and I was like, man, this is the right way to do this to do it properly. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of how it started. It just kind of was a way to expand the wheel repair business.
Mm-hmm.
Built my own oven, bought a KCI powder coating gun,
Mm.
and just got to work. We were actually spraying like out in the middle of the shop to start with. So very small garage coater type startup. It got a little bit more serious as
Mm-hmm.
people found out we were doing it. So we ended
Mm-hmm.
up buying a building, upgrading our equipment, getting more professional setup. In 2020, we actually got rid of the wheel repair business because of the car market. It was just so
Right.
busy; they weren't putting money into repairing the vehicles. So we transitioned into only powder coating. So
Mm-hmm.
as of right now, we actually have two buildings. We have one building with a small conveyor setup in it, two-stage washer, and then we have a second building where we do all of our batch work. So we've got a 20-foot oven over there. We just actually bought I sell the equipment, the electron powder coating equipment. We bought a new
Mm-hmm.
booth that's going to be showing up in about a month. So we're really excited to get that in there and
Mm.
keep expanding.
Yeah. So how many years ago was that you kind of dove in full time with that then? Uh,
With powder coating or with the
yeah.
equipment?
Well, with powder coating, I should say in general.
I would say that was probably 2018 is when we went
Okay.
full. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. And so, like I said, you started out with doing tire repair. What kind of was it more tire repair or powder coating in that regard, or both of those?
It was actually wheel repair. So
Wheel
the
repair.
used cars, they would have like curb rash on the wheels.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a little trailer set up. We'd go out to the dealerships, we'd look at all the wheels, and then we would take them back. We'd actually dismount the wheel off the car. We'd break the tire down, sand out the damage, repair it, paint it,
Mm-hmm.
cure it real fast with like a infrared light, and then put it back on the car. So that's how it all started. But with the powder coating, that's when I had to invest we rented a building and started buying all that equipment.
Sure.
So it blew up the business really because no one had really gone to the point where like a lot of powder coating shops don't do wheels because they don't
Mm-hmm.
have the tire machine and the balancer and all that. And we
Right.
offered a pickup drop off. So the dealerships, they could mark these up as much as they wanted and we had a set fee. And I think there's a lot of people doing it now. A lot of the smaller coders, they're getting a lot of business that way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's really what blew up my business for me, where I was able to buy the building and buy bigger equipment and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Right. Definitely. And I said you hadn't had much experience in powder coating before this, right? I mean, no, you hadn't
Nope,
worked at a shop
just
or anything.
hobby. Just I was a guy with the Eastwood gun and
Mm-hmm.
the old household stove in the garage at home. I was doing little parts for my cars and stuff like that, but
Right.
I
Right.
definitely dove head first into learning everything about it because back when I started, there weren't these Facebook communities and all that. So I've been to like the Powder Coating Institute class, PCI 101, which that just everything right over my head when they were talking about pre-treatment and
Right.
chemicals and all that stuff. I was like, man, I am lost. Like I have no idea what's going on. So
Right.
that definitely opened my eyes to like, man, I got to really study this and figure out how this all works.
Right. Yeah. Because I guess, like I said, you learn quickly that the pre-treatment is where it starts, or where it could really
Hmm.
be a problem with that, and such. And was that kind of the most difficult part when you were starting out with that, of really understanding the technical how this thing works, and how you know only have to paint parts once instead of having
Right.
rejects and things. Is that kind of
Yeah,
the?
we stripped everything and then sandblasted it, so we were doing it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we were get like the wheels. We'd bring them in. We knew right away we had to get the paint off, so we were the guys using the B17, and I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it, but it worked. So that's what we did, and then um, getting smarter, going to those classes, learning about different ways to pre-treat. I knew there were chemical pre-treats, but I didn't know how they worked or how I would integrate them.
Mm-hmm.
We started talking to vendors, and I don't think enough powder coaters talk to vendors and utilize their knowledge
Right.
in it.
Mm-hmm.
We rely heavily on our paint suppliers for powder issues, and we rely heavily on our chemical suppliers to make sure we're pre-treating the correct way, that our
Right.
titration's correct on our line, and when we're manually spraying the chemicals, that's all correct too. So you can go sideways pretty quick with the chemicals if you don't know what you're doing. But
Right.
um,
Right.
I don't think enough people rely on those vendors because they're there to help you. They're there to teach you, and it's what they specialize in.
Right. They want you to grow, so they'll buy
Yep.
more from them. With
Yep.
that, yeah. And I think I saw from you got a conveyor system that you have. Is that
Yep.
right? Yep. And
Yep.
what type was that you've got with that, or how long is
So
that one?
we bought that used out of Nebraska, actually. So they were painting, I think it was Allman Company.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing like the little tow behind pop-up lights, and it's funny. The guy who actually put it together is north of us about 45 minutes. So he's the one
Mm.
that built the system. So they disassembled it, trucked it in, and it took us over a year to put the thing together and get it all, because we had to weld everything, all the framing back together. And I'd never put anything together like that, so it took a while. And then I called up John, who designed it originally, and he came and did all the electrical and got the control panels running and all
Okay.
that. So that again, it's kind of like when we went from wheels to only powder coating was a big jump, and then getting that system.
Mm-hmm.
The margins grew. We could reinvest more money back into the business, but it was definitely a hill to climb with a used system, and
Right.
and all the wear
Exactly.
and tear that comes with that.
Right. Yeah. I was gonna say, so when you kind of devoted everything just to powder coating, not just the tires, but just the powder coating, I guess you were going out, I guess, soliciting manufacturers, industry people. Or was that kind of a learning curve to find out who's going to need this and how you could persuade them to do business with you? How did that all go about for you?
Yep. So we bought the system because we were already working with a company that we couldn't keep up with. So
Mm.
running the parts batch was very time consuming. It took a lot of labor, a lot of people. We were custom designing hangers so that we could maximize our carts, and that way you were getting more through your manual spray on the pre-treatment side and all that. But
Right.
a lot of labor loading, unloading, all that. And then when we put that, we knew we needed a better system, and we had a very good relationship with them. We didn't have a contract or anything signed, but I trusted them.
Mm-hmm.
They said, you invest in your company, we've got you, and we've been partners with them, I think, about 6 years now. So 90% of what goes through our line is one customer. We have
Mm.
capacity to do some more, and we're actually looking into that now. We just brought on a marketing manager
Okay.
to try and grow more. So we're pretty excited about where it's going to go. But
Mm-hmm.
I've been moving very slow, kind of on purpose, because we want to make sure we understand everything. We're still
Right.
nowhere near some of these big companies that have, they have quality teams that inspect everything. I'm still
Right.
the quality guy, so we're putting together our operating procedures and all that kind of stuff. We're still in our infancy, I guess,
Right.
crawling, but
Yeah. I was gonna say you're almost 10 years, but it is kind of infancy, right? It's
yeah.
not something that happens overnight. You don't build relationships, you don't build customer base overnight with that. It does take a while. I think you have to kind of prove yourself, but also, like you said, you want to get the system down. You want to make sure you
Hmm.
know exactly how to do with that. So because you don't want to jump into things and make mistakes and get a bad
Right.
reputation on things with that. But yeah, like I said, so it's one thing I was going to ask you about. Talk about marketing because it's kind of unique. How I kind of learned a little bit about you is the YouTube videos you're doing. You've done a lot of them, right? And it's
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know if you do that to bring in customers or just sort of let people know how you do what you do. Talk to us about that. What kind of got you into that, and how's that work for you?
Yep. So the YouTube started because I couldn't find any information on how to process parts, how to do things properly, and so I was like, "Man, I'm gonna start sharing this." To be honest
Hmm.
with you, we don't get a lot of we've had people mail us parts who have watched our channel, but the channel is really just for powder coaters. It's not really for customers, so we're not really talking about like our capacity and our process and all that stuff as much as we're just trying to teach people. So the channel just came 100% from wanting to help people.
Mm.
No other reason. I never thought it. We're at like 21,000 subscribers now, which I'm shocked there's that many people that want to learn about powder coating. And it's a lot of work to keep that up.
Right.
I'm not an editor. I don't have a background in doing video or anything. So we're very, low budget, low effort on that. But I'm just trying to get the right information across. And if you go back into my early days, we were doing a lot of crazy stuff that I don't know if I'd recommend now. But as you learn the processes and stuff, the information gets a little better and better. And with our new gal we've got hired, we're hoping to get back to doing a lot more of that educational content.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, like you said, I mean, I guess, when you're in this business, and I've learned from a lot of people who are in the coatings business, is you're sort of in an island, right? Your competitors aren't going to help you. You kind of have to, either you talk to your vendors or you learn by yourself. Aside from all of that, you're a business owner. You have to pay bills and all these types and it is a struggle sometimes to do that. And almost like you were journalizing some of those ups and downs
Yeah.
and how to do it, right? Because certainly, like I said, there's probably hundreds, if not 1,000 other people like you who have a business like yours, kind of a smaller operation, and they're learning every day. They
Yeah.
want to, you want to grow, right? But was it part of it to kind of just sort of touch base and let people know that, hey, there's more than just yourself out there. There's other people that are doing the exact same thing and trying to do it. Or
Yeah, yeah, we've definitely tried to share. It's hard to do it because you don't want to share your mistakes and what you did wrong. But we've done specific videos just on that, just so people know that
mm-hmm.
they're not alone. I always tell new employees, I'm like, this is a roller coaster. One day you're gonna be like, man, I'm awesome at this. I got it. I don't mess anything up. And then the next day you're just gonna have everything go wrong. The parts are gonna come out and look horrible, and you're gonna be like, what did I do? Like it's very emotional. And so I always tell them, I'm like, don't get too up on the horse because you'll be dropped pretty quick, and it happens every single time. But yeah, we try to share the real side of what it's like to go through powder coating. It's struggles because, like you said, your competitors don't want to talk to you, which I just think is insane. We've got a
It is.
handful of local people around us that we actually share work with. If my oven's not big enough for a project, I tell the customer, hey, we can get this section, but we're going to have to outsource this to a trusted company, and they're
Right.
usually okay with that. So we rely on other people. Sometimes they rely on us, especially if they have a lot of little parts and they want to run them through our line. I like to work with powder coaters. I send a ton of work to a guy who's like 25, 30 minutes from me, um, just because it's like we can't do that type of work, but he specializes in it, so we send it. We try to stick away from. We do some custom work, but a lot of these guys that are doing the really fine 3-stage and you know different colors and wipes and stuff, we wouldn't make any money doing that because our overhead's so high. But some of these smaller guys, that's what they specialize in, so we like to utilize them. But yeah, I think powder coaters definitely need to communicate more with each other and share more of those trade secrets and that sort of thing. But there's always that scarcity mindset that there's not enough out there for you.
Right. Exactly right. I mean, do you hear from a lot of other people across the country? YouTube goes everywhere, right? Do you hear from a lot of people that are sitting in your
Yeah.
same chair and will say, "Hey, I appreciate that. That was interesting." Or certainly, like I said, 21,000 is a lot of people to be watching your videos from
Yeah.
time to time. So yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
do you hear from a
We
lot of
get some
them?
really nice. Yeah, we get a lot of nice comments. We get people out call the shop and just be like, "Man, I watched all your videos. I'm so thankful for them." I can't tell you how many times I've heard your videos got me into powder coating, and now I have a business. So that's what really makes it worth it. Like you're actually helping
Mm-hmm.
people, and I mean now they're supporting themselves, or maybe they have employees and all that kind of stuff. So it's you never know how far that reach is going to go, and it's very humbling for people. I mean, I have people that call me, they're like, you're on my 70-inch flat screen TV right now, and I'm like, that's weird. Like, don't tell me that. It's very odd.
Big screen star. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, it's great, like you said, and I think it's always great to help people. I know that some people are very, companies are very, they don't want anybody to know what they're doing and things like that. But well, let me ask you because you've got into equipment sales, right? When did you start that business? That as an offshoot. When did you start that?
Yeah, well, that actually relates right to my YouTube channel. So,
Mm-hmm.
Electron, they're out of Turkey. They've been
Mm-hmm.
in business for about 26 years, maybe 27 now. And they had sold their equipment all over the globe, but they weren't in the US market. And
Mm-hmm.
I want to say it was like 20. two. They were whenever FabTech was in Atlanta. I don't remember what
Yeah,
year that
that's when it
was,
was.
but that
Hmm.
was their first trip to the States. And just before that, they had sent me one of their Electron guns to try. And I was a big GEMA guy. I actually sold GEMA equipment in 2020 for a local distributor while I
Hmm.
ran the business. And um, I was sold on GEMA, best in the country. And they sent me a gun. I tried it. I'm like, this thing works really well. I did not think it
Hmm.
would work well. We tested it for about 3 months, and then I drove down to Atlanta from Iowa, and I
Hmm.
attended that show with them. And their engineer that develops the equipment was there.
Hmm.
Owners were there. Salespeople were there, and I signed up to be their U.S. distributor.
Oh,
So we've been doing it ever since. There's hundreds and hundreds of guns we've sold. We now have complete conveyor systems. One just got installed in Michigan. So the nice thing I like about Electron is after working with another distributor, Electron makes all the components. So the oven, the washer, the
gotcha.
guns, everything. So you have one team for your whole plant. Whereas here, you're outsourcing to different vendors, and then you're dealing with all those different vendors and that sort of thing. So that to me is like the biggest selling point of Electron. It's really good quality equipment, and it's a way more economical price. I'm not going to say it's cheap, but it's more
Right.
economical than the other guys. And I will never badmouth GEMA. They make awesome guns. They are top of the line. If I didn't have Electron, I'd be using the GEMA guns. But yeah, we're growing pretty quick. My company, it's powder finishing equipment. Um, we're very active. We're doing a lot of quotes. I think the uh, manufacturing industry has been a little slow for the last couple of years, and you probably know more than I do, but it seems like
Hmm.
it's coming back up because we've been getting a lot more
Yeah.
requests for equipment quotes. So that's a good thing, and we're trying to build
Hmm.
out our team to make sure that we can service all that.
Right. Yeah. How do you I know you've only got so many hours in a day. How do you do that with your running your business and then also with the equipment sales? How do you kind of manage those aspects together?
Yep. Yep. So the more and more I do this, the more I realize how good of a team I need to have. So we've got a really good team at right now powder coating. We do our best to get them trained and into our processes and all that. And it really makes it become just a turnkey thing where, they show up and they know what to do and they know how to do it. And if a situation happens, they know where to find the answer and how to fix it. So that's really removed me a lot from the day-to-day operations. I'm still in the building every day, but I'm working on everything. So with the powder
Right.
finishing equipment, a lot of my time is spent with customers. We're either doing conference calls to go over equipment, or we're solving any issues they may have, or sometimes they need a little extra training on the equipment. So um, I don't know. I just juggle. I've got a lot of energy, and my brain never stops. So it's if I'm slow, I'm bored. I'm like I need excitement. I need things to happen, which is probably why I took this on because it's new and it's fun, and you're growing a brand that's never been in the U.S. It's been here 4 years, but there's so much potential in this market right now. I just didn't
Right.
want to miss the opportunity.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess, like I said, you're dealing with other people who are putting in newer systems. I don't know if they're established companies or they're starting up or anything, but I know they're probably not right near you or your competitors or anything. But it gives you a chance to see what other people are doing, how they're operating, what their business philosophies are, to give you kind of that window into what is going on with them as well. I'm sure it
Yeah,
does sometimes to
yeah,
see that.
absolutely. I think the one thing I really missed out is I just jumped into owning a powder coating business. If I could give advice to people who want to do this, go work for one. Go to a big company and work for them. They're going to share everything with you because they want you to do a good job, but you're going to learn way more than I know. Because when we're quoting these systems, yeah, we get to see how they operate and all that stuff, but they're not going to show us their SOPs and stuff like that. So um, it is eye opening to see how they operate, how they handle employees,
Right.
the safety protocols they take, all of that kind of stuff. So definitely, when I worked for that first distribution company in 2020, that exposed me a lot to the bigger systems and all that, and how I mean we're in places like John Deere and stuff like that. So top of the line, strict as can be. All the way down to mom and pop shops that if OSHA walked in there, there'd be some big issues. So
Right.
I've seen it all, and it's nice to get in there and just see how everyone operates on differently. Just and based on where you're located in the United States and the restrictions, it all changes again. So it's
Right.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, and good thing is I do think manufacturing is making the comeback a little bit more.
Yeah.
As soon as, especially as you get, a lot of manufacturing plants are being built right now. I think the payoff is in maybe
Yeah.
even 2 to 3 years when they start getting
Yeah.
built with that. You mentioned you hired a marketing person for your company, and you've got this going on. Where do you see the next 5 to 10 years for you and your company? How do you think that's all going to plan out, and what plans do
Yeah.
you have for that? So.
So it's kind of an interesting thing because where we're in a really small town of like 400 people here in Iowa.
Hmm.
And I literally bought a vacant lot to put up my second building, and we are maxed out. We have no more room to grow.
Mm.
Ideally, I would like to get a bigger facility where we can kind of incorporate everything back into one. And I bought the building, so we aren't like renting or anything. But
Mm.
there's some complications there with selling and all that kind of stuff. But I really would like to bring in a complete line from Electron because their equipment just impresses me every time we install something. So it'd be nice to get a whole system from them, a little bit bigger. Our conveyor system is very small. It takes up like a 35 by 40-foot space, which is perfect for what we're doing, but it does limit who we can work with. And we only
Right.
have a two-stage washer, whereas, a lot of the bigger companies are 6, 7 type of setup.
Hmm.
So that would be nice on the right now powder coating side. With powder finishing equipment, um, it's just a matter of time. I think there's a lot of trust we're trying to build with Electron because I'm sure, um, like you and other people, they just don't know what the brand is yet. It's very new to the market. And the more and more we started with like small coaters, so they're upgrading from like the Cool Coat guns or Eastwood guns, and then they're like, I want my
Right.
first professional gun, and this one's affordable. And it's worked out well because their recommendations and the feedback we get is really good on them.
Hmm.
So building that trust into the market is better. And we had to go through all the hurdles of getting them certified over here in the U.S. So the bigger companies would be able to bring them in with their insurance and all that kind of stuff. So that's all done now. So that hurdle's over, and just making sure all of our motors and everything work properly over here because the whole system is designed and built in Turkey and then shipped over on a boat. So they're actually, even with that, the turnaround is very quick. The booth I ordered was 6 weeks to get to my door. So
Mm.
we're very quick. We're fair on our pricing
That's
and all
fairly
that.
quick. I
That's
think that's
very
fairly
quick.
quick. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've had quotes back in the day from local companies, and it was 6 to 9 months for the
Right.
same thing. So,
Exactly.
which is good. That means they're busy, which is a
Right.
good sign for the industry. But yeah, I would like to see that there's only upside potential with powder finishing equipment. So ideally, we want to start building out our team. We're we sell nationally, which can complicate things. If I'm in Iowa and we sell a system in like California or New York, that type of thing.
Hmm.
But we're building that out, and that's part of the reason we're a lot more affordable because we don't have like I always use GEMA as example. They've got the headquarters over there, and then they have USA GEMA, and then they have all these sub distributors. We're direct from the manufacturer, so there's one step to the sale, which you cut out a lot of those middlemen, so it's a lot more efficient. But
Right.
our main thing right now is just proving that the equipment's good, reliable, solid. That you'll have the follow-up support when it's done, and they have an excellent technical team over there that we can get a hold of 24/7. So it's baby steps, but the brand's getting more and more recognition. We're at FabTech every year, and the booth's getting bigger and bigger. So I think powder finish equipment, I think, is going to outpace right now powder coating pretty quickly.
Right. Great. Yeah.